Richard Thompson, a billionaire accustomed to luxury, entered the exclusive restaurant, his mind preoccupied with business deals. As he approached his reserved table, a young boy in tattered clothes suddenly appeared beside him, eyes wide with urgency. "Sir, please," the boy pleaded, his voice trembling, "don't eat that." Startled, Richard glanced around, noticing the staff's uneasy glances and the chef's pale face peeking from the kitchen. Confusion washed over him. What could this child possibly know about his meal? Before he could respond, the boy whispered, "They're trying to poison you." Richard's heart raced as he realized his life was in imminent danger. Forever before we start the story, comment below where in the world you're watching from today. And if you enjoy stories like this, don't forget to subscribe so you never miss a new one. Once upon a time, in a bustling city where dreams were made and shattered, there lived a young boy named Oliver. He was only 10 years old, but had seen more hardship than most people do in a lifetime. Oliver was homeless, living on the streets, searching for food and shelter each day. Despite his circumstances, he had a heart full of hope and an unyielding spirit. One chilly afternoon, Oliver spotted something unusual while rummaging through a dumpster behind a fancy restaurant. Among the leftover food, he found a beautifully wrapped sandwich. His stomach growled at the thought of a meal, but he hesitated, sensing something was off. Just then, a sleek black car pulled up to the restaurant, and out stepped a billionaire named Mr. Thompson. He was known for his wealth and his extravagant lifestyle, but few knew the depths of his heart. As he walked toward the entrance, he noticed the sandwich Oliver was holding. Without thinking, he reached for it, hunger in his eyes. "Wait! Don't eat that!" Oliver shouted, panic rising in his voice. Mr. Thompson froze, taken aback by the boy's sudden outburst. He looked down at Oliver, who was staring up at him with wide, fearful eyes. "Why not?" Mr. Thompson asked, his curiosity piqued. "Because it's been in the dumpster. It could be bad for you," Oliver exclaimed, his voice trembling. "You don't know what's in there. I've seen rats and things." The billionaire paused, contemplating the boy's words. He could easily afford the finest meals, but for a brief moment, he felt a strange connection to the child before him. Instead of brushing Oliver off, he knelt down to his level. "Are you sure?" Mr. Thompson asked, genuinely concerned. "What makes you think it's dangerous?" Oliver swallowed hard, thinking of the many times he had scavenged through garbage, only to find spoiled food or something that could make him sick. "I've learned to be careful. Not everything that looks good is safe." Mr. Thompson looked at the sandwich again, then back at Oliver. For the first time in a long while, he considered the consequences of his actions. Here was a boy who had been fighting for survival, warning him against a mistake he was about to make. It was a wake-up call. "Thank you for stopping me," Mr. Thompson said, standing up slowly. "I didn't realize how reckless I was being." Oliver smiled shyly, relieved that the billionaire had listened to him. It was a small victory, but it felt huge to him. "You're welcome." "I just don't want anyone to get sick." In that moment, something changed within Mr. Thompson. He realized that his wealth meant nothing if he couldn't care for those around him. He reached into his pocket and pulled out some cash. "How about I buy you a proper meal instead? You deserve it." Oliver's eyes widened with disbelief. "Really? You don't have to do that." But Mr. Thompson insisted, and they walked together to a nearby cafe. As they entered, the warm aroma of freshly baked bread filled the air. They sat down, and Mr. Thompson ordered a hearty meal for both of them. While they waited, they began to talk. Oliver shared stories of his life on the streets, and Mr. Thompson shared tales of his childhood, filled with both privilege and struggles. It was a conversation that crossed the barriers of wealth and poverty, connecting two very different lives, When the food arrived, Oliver took a bite and a smile spread across his face. "This is amazing. Thank you so much." Mr. Thompson felt a warmth in his heart as he watched the boy eat. He realized that there was more to life than just accumulating wealth. It was about sharing and caring for others. After they finished their meal, Mr. Thompson looked at Oliver and said, "I want to help you. We can't let you live on the streets. How about I find you a safe place to stay?" Oliver was taken aback. "You would do that for me?" "Absolutely," Mr. Thompson replied, his voice steady and sincere. "Everyone deserves a second chance, and I think you have a bright future ahead of you." Tears of gratitude welled up in Oliver's eyes. In that moment, he realized that kindness could still exist in the world, even in the most unexpected places. As they left the cafe, a new chapter began for both of them, one filled with hope, compassion, and the promise of a better tomorrow. Little did they know this encounter would not only change Oliver's life, but also inspire Mr. Thompson to reevaluate his own purpose in life. And that was just the beginning of their extraordinary journey together. As they stepped out of the cafe, the crisp air greeted them, and the bustling city seemed to buzz with newfound energy. Mr. Thompson looked down at Oliver, who was beaming with a mixture of excitement and disbelief. The weight of the world appeared to lift off the boy's shoulders. "Let's go find you a place to stay," Mr. Thompson said, taking Oliver's hand gently. They walked toward his car, and as they did, they passed several other homeless individuals. Oliver's heart ached for them, and he paused to glance back. "Mr. Thompson," he said hesitantly, "there are so many others like me. Can we help them too?" The billionaire stopped and regarded Oliver thoughtfully. "You're right. We can't forget about them. Let's see what we can do together." With that, Mr. Thompson decided to make a detour. They headed to a nearby shelter that he had heard about but never visited. When they arrived, Oliver's eyes lit up as he saw the warm, inviting space filled with people sharing meals and laughter. Inside, the shelter was buzzing with activity. Volunteers served food, and others handed out clothes to those in need. Oliver felt a sense of belonging he hadn't experienced in a long time. He turned to Mr. Thompson, his voice filled with hope. "This place is amazing." Mr. Thompson nodded, his heart swelling with pride for the boy who was guiding him. He approached the manager of the shelter and introduced himself. "Hello, I'm Mr. Thompson. I'd like to support this shelter and the work you're doing here." The manager's eyes widened in disbelief. "Thank you. We're always in need of resources to keep this place running. It's wonderful to meet someone who cares." Oliver watched as Mr. Thompson discussed how he could help provide funding, food supplies, and even clothing drives for the shelter. It was a moment of transformation, not just for Oliver, but for Mr. Thompson as well. He realized that sharing his wealth could create a ripple effect of kindness and support in the community. As they left the shelter, Oliver felt a surge of energy. "Thank you for caring about them, Mr. Thompson. You're making a difference." Mr. Thompson smiled down at the boy, feeling a sense of purpose he hadn't known he was missing. "It's all thanks to you, Oliver. You opened my eyes to what really matters." Over the following weeks, Mr. Thompson and Oliver worked together to create initiatives that would help not only the shelter, but also other organizations supporting the homeless. They organized food drives, clothing donations, and community outreach programs, bringing together local businesses and volunteers to make a real impact. Word began to spread about the partnership between the billionaire and the young boy. Media outlets picked up the story, highlighting their efforts and inspiring others to join the cause. Oliver became a symbol of hope, reminding everyone that kindness could change lives no matter how small. One day, as they sat together planning their next event, Oliver looked at Mr. Thompson with a serious expression. "You know, I was scared when I first met you. I thought you would just take that sandwich and not care about me." Mr. Thompson chuckled softly. "I'm glad you spoke up. You taught me that we all have a voice, and we should use it to stand up for what's right." "I want to keep helping others," Oliver declared, determination shining in his eyes. "I want to show them that there's hope, just like you showed me." Mr. Thompson placed a hand on Oliver's shoulder. "And you will, my friend. We'll do this together. You have a future ahead of you, and I believe you can make it bright." As their journey continued, Oliver thrived under Mr. Thompson's mentorship. He began attending school again, gaining confidence in himself and his abilities. His curiosity about the world grew, and he dreamt of one day helping even more people. Meanwhile, Mr. Thompson found himself inspired by Oliver's resilience and hope. The boy had reignited his passion for philanthropy, reminding him of the importance of compassion in a world that often seemed cold and indifferent. Together they changed lives, one act of kindness at a time. They became a beacon of hope for those around them, proving that even the most unlikely partnerships could create extraordinary change. And so the story of Oliver and Mr. Thompson continued, a beautiful testament to the power of empathy, understanding, and the belief that together they could conquer any challenge life threw their way. As the months rolled on, the partnership between Oliver and Mr. Thompson blossomed into something remarkable. Their efforts to support the homeless community gained momentum, and they organized a large fundraising event titled A Night of Hope. The event aimed to raise awareness and funds for shelters and programs dedicated to helping those in need. The night of the event arrived, and the venue was elegantly decorated with twinkling lights and vibrant flowers. Guests filled the room. Business leaders, community members, and volunteers all came together to support the cause. Oliver stood nervously at the entrance, his heart racing at the thought of speaking in front of so many people. Mr. Thompson approached him, sensing his anxiety. "You're going to do great, Oliver. Remember, you're speaking from the heart. Everyone here wants to hear your story." With a deep breath, Oliver nodded, trying to muster the courage he had found over the past few months. As the program began, Mr. Thompson introduced Oliver to the audience, speaking about the boy's incredible journey and the impact he had made. When it was finally Oliver's turn to speak, he took the microphone, his hands trembling slightly. He looked out at the crowd, feeling the weight of their expectations. "Hi, everyone. My name is Oliver, and I used to be homeless, but then I met Mr. Thompson, and he changed my life." The audience listened intently as Oliver shared his experiences on the streets, the challenges he faced, and the fears he carried. But he also spoke of hope, kindness, and how small acts of compassion could create ripples of change. His voice grew steadier as he spoke, fueled by the support around him. "I believe that everyone deserves a chance," he concluded, his eyes shining with determination, "and we can all make a difference no matter how small our actions may seem." The room erupted in applause, and Oliver felt a surge of pride. He had found his voice and inspired others to care. Mr. Thompson beamed with pride as he watched Oliver shine. After the speeches, the evening continued with a silent auction and various activities to raise funds. As the night went on, the generosity of the guests became evident, and they raised more money than Oliver and Mr. Thompson had ever imagined. Once the event concluded, Mr. Thompson took Oliver aside. "You were incredible tonight. You inspired so many people." Oliver grinned, still buzzing from the energy of the evening. "I couldn't have done it without you. Thank you for believing in me." "You believed in yourself," Mr. Thompson replied. "That's what made the difference." As they walked home together, Oliver reflected on how far he had come. He had transformed from a scared homeless boy to a confident young advocate for change, but he knew that there was still much work to be done. In the following weeks, Oliver and Mr. Thompson continued to meet with local leaders, seeking solutions for the homeless crisis. They collaborated with social workers, healthcare providers, and educators to develop programs that offered not just shelter, but also job training and mental health support. One day, while working on a project to provide vocational training for homeless individuals, Oliver received an unexpected call. A local news station wanted to feature him and Mr. Thompson in a segment about their work. Oliver was thrilled but also nervous about being in the spotlight again. When the day of the interview arrived, the cameras rolled as Oliver and Mr. Thompson shared their vision for a better future. Oliver spoke passionately about the importance of community and the need for understanding and compassion toward those who were struggling. The segment aired, and it caught the attention of even more people, leading to an influx of donations and volunteers wanting to join their mission. It was a whirlwind of excitement and change, and Oliver could hardly believe how many lives they were touching. But with the newfound attention came challenges. Not everyone was supportive of their efforts, and some critics questioned the effectiveness of their initiatives. Oliver felt the weight of these negative comments, wondering if they were making a real difference. Sensing his doubts, Mr. Thompson sat down with him one evening after a long day. "Oliver, it's normal to feel overwhelmed, especially when you're trying to make a big impact. But remember, even small changes matter. For every person who criticizes, there are many more who appreciate what you're doing." Oliver nodded, taking in his mentor's words. "I just want to help as many people as I can." "And you are," Mr. Thompson assured him. "The journey is not easy, but it's worth it. Just focus on the lives you're changing, one person at a time." Rejuvenated by their conversation, Oliver decided to keep pushing forward. With Mr. Thompson's support, they continued their work, helping to launch a new initiative that provided mentorship programs for young people experiencing homelessness. Through this initiative, Oliver began to connect with other kids like him, sharing stories, offering support, and inspiring them to believe in their potential. He found joy in helping others, understanding that every small act of kindness could lead to significant changes. As the seasons changed, so did Oliver's life. He was no longer just a homeless boy, but a beacon of hope for many. He found a sense of belonging in the community and was determined to keep advocating for those in need. And so the story of Oliver and Mr. Thompson continued, weaving a tapestry of compassion and resilience, proving that together they could change the world, one life at a time. As winter approached, the chilly air began to settle over the city, and the nights grew longer. Oliver and Mr. Thompson's initiatives became even more crucial during this time as the homeless population faced the harsh realities of the cold weather. They organized Warm Nights, a program designed to provide hot meals, warm clothing, and blankets to those in need. With the help of volunteers, they transformed a community center into a safe haven every weekend, where people could come in from the cold, enjoy a hot meal, and find comfort in a warm space. Oliver took the lead in coordinating activities for the children who came to the center, organizing games and storytelling sessions to create a sense of joy amidst the difficult circumstances. One evening, as the volunteers prepared for the weekly gathering, Oliver noticed a familiar face among the crowd, a boy named Leo, who he had met at the shelter months ago. Leo was shy and reserved, but he had always shown a glimmer of curiosity about the world around him. "Hey, Leo," Oliver called out, waving him over. "I'm so glad you're here." Leo hesitated for a moment, but then approached, his eyes wide, as he took in the bustling activity around him. "Is this really for us?" he asked quietly. "Absolutely," Oliver replied with a smile. "We're here to make sure everyone has a warm meal and a safe place to stay. You can help me with the games if you want." Leo's face brightened, and he nodded eagerly. They spent the evening laughing and playing games with the other children, creating a sense of community that warmed their hearts despite the cold outside. As the night progressed, Mr. Thompson arrived to check on the event. He watched with pride as Oliver interacted with the kids, noticing how much the boy had grown in confidence and leadership. He approached Oliver and Leo, kneeling down to their level. "You both are doing an amazing job tonight," Mr. Thompson said, beaming. "It's wonderful to see you bringing joy to others." Oliver grinned. "Thanks, Mr. Thompson. Leo has been a big help." Leo, feeling a rush of pride, shyly replied, "I just want to help too." "That's the spirit," Mr. Thompson encouraged. "Together we can make a difference. Just like Oliver has inspired you, you can inspire others too." As the night came to an end and people began to leave, Oliver felt a warm glow of satisfaction. He had witnessed the power of community, kindness, and support. But as he cleaned up, he noticed that Leo lingered behind, looking a bit lost. "Are you okay, Leo?" Oliver asked, concern in his voice. "I don't want to go back to the shelter," Leo admitted, his voice barely above a whisper. "It's not a good place sometimes, and I feel scared there." Oliver felt a pang of empathy for his friend. He remembered his own fears from those difficult days and wanted to help. "You can stay with me for a little while," he offered, surprising even himself. "I have a place now, and I'd love for you to come over." Leo's eyes widened in disbelief. "Really? You would do that for me?" "Of course, we can watch movies and eat popcorn," Oliver said with a smile. "You won't be alone." Mr. Thompson, overhearing their conversation, approached them with a thoughtful expression. "Oliver, I think that's a great idea, but we should also talk to Leo's family or the shelter to ensure it's safe and appropriate for him to stay with you." Oliver nodded, understanding the importance of taking the right steps. Together they spoke to the shelter staff, who were supportive of the idea and promised to keep in touch. That weekend, Leo moved in with Oliver and Mr. Thompson, and they made the best of their time together. They created a cozy space in the guest room, filled with blankets and pillows, transformed it into a little sanctuary where they could escape from the challenges of their lives. The two boys quickly became inseparable, sharing their stories, dreams, and laughter. Oliver learned that Leo loved to draw, and soon the walls of their home were adorned with colorful artwork depicting their favorite moments together. As winter deepened, their bond grew stronger. Oliver and Mr. Thompson worked tirelessly to expand their initiatives, and with Leo's help, they started a creativity corner at the community center, where children could express themselves through art, music, and storytelling. One snowy afternoon, as they hosted a special art session, Oliver noticed that Leo seemed particularly inspired. He watched as Leo meticulously painted a mural that depicted a sun shining over a landscape filled with hope, a symbol of their journey and the warmth they sought to spread. "Leo, this is beautiful," Oliver exclaimed, awed by his friend's talent. "You're amazing." "Thanks, Oliver," Leo replied, his cheeks flushed with pride. "I want to show everyone that even in tough times, we can still find beauty and hope." As the mural took shape, it became a focal point of the community center, inspiring others who visited. People began to share their own stories of resilience, turning the space into a hub of creativity and collaboration. Through it all, Oliver, Mr. Thompson, and Leo continued to foster a spirit of compassion and unity within their community. They organized more events, expanded their outreach programs, and encouraged others to get involved. As spring approached, the weather warmed and hope blossomed along with the flowers. One day, as they sat together reflecting on their journey, Mr. Thompson said, "You two have accomplished so much. I'm proud of the work we've done together." Oliver smiled, feeling a sense of fulfillment. "I couldn't have done it without you, Mr. Thompson. You believed in me when I didn't believe in myself." And you showed me the power of kindness and community, Mr. Thompson replied, glancing at Leo, who nodded in agreement. Together they continued to forge ahead, knowing that their efforts were just beginning. They had created a safe haven for many, but there was still more to be done. The stories of resilience and transformation continued to unfold, and Oliver, Leo, and Mr. Thompson were determined to make a lasting impact. In the months that followed, they expanded their initiatives even further, collaborating with local businesses and schools to create mentorship programs, job training, and educational opportunities for those experiencing homelessness. They dreamed of a world where no child would have to face the challenges Oliver and Leo had encountered. As they sat down to brainstorm their next big project, Oliver looked at his friend and mentor, feeling grateful for the journey they had embarked on together. "I can't wait to see what we'll do next," he said, a spark of excitement in his eyes. Mr. Thompson smiled, filled with hope for the future. "Whatever it is, I know we'll do it together, and we'll keep making a difference, one step at a time." And so the story of Oliver, Leo, and Mr. Thompson continued, a testament to the power of friendship, compassion, and the belief that together they could change the world for the better. As the days turned into weeks, Oliver, Leo, and Mr. Thompson worked tirelessly to strengthen their initiatives and reach more people in need. Their efforts had garnered attention not just locally, but also from various organizations interested in collaborating with them. One afternoon, as they sat at the community center discussing their upcoming projects, a representative from a national non-profit organization reached out to them. They expressed interest in partnering with Oliver, Leo, and Mr. Thompson to expand their programs on a larger scale. "This could be huge for us," Oliver exclaimed, his eyes shining with excitement. "We could reach so many more people," Mr. Thompson nodded thoughtfully. "It's an incredible opportunity. We need to ensure our vision aligns with theirs and that we can maintain our community-driven approach." With Leo's help, they prepared for a meeting with the representatives. They spent hours discussing their mission, sharing stories of the people they had helped, and outlining their goals for the future. Oliver felt nervous, but determined to convey their passion and commitment. When the day of the meeting arrived, the three of them walked into the conference room with a mix of excitement and apprehension. The representatives greeted them warmly, and as they began the discussion, Oliver felt a sense of empowerment. "Thank you for having us," Mr. Thompson said. "We've been working in our community to provide support for those experiencing homelessness, and we're eager to explore how we can collaborate." Oliver and Leo shared their stories, emphasizing the importance of mentorship, creativity, and community engagement. They spoke about their initiatives and the impact they had made, illustrating their points with photos and testimonials from those they had helped. The representatives listened intently, nodding as they absorbed the heartfelt testimonies. After a productive discussion, they expressed admiration for the work Oliver, Leo, and Mr. Thompson had accomplished. "This is exactly the kind of grassroots effort we want to support," one of the representatives said. "We believe that with our resources combined, we can take this initiative to a national level, impacting lives across the country." The room erupted in excitement, and Oliver felt a wave of hope wash over him. They discussed plans for training programs, mentorship opportunities, and ways to mobilize volunteers from other cities. By the end of the meeting, they had established a partnership that would allow them to expand their reach significantly. Oliver and Leo were thrilled, knowing that they would now have the chance to help even more individuals and families in need. As they left the meeting, Oliver turned to Mr. Thompson, his heart racing. "This is amazing! We can really make a difference on a larger scale." Mr. Thompson smiled, pride evident in his eyes. "Yes, Oliver, this is just the beginning. Together, we'll make sure that no one feels alone and that everyone has access to support and opportunities." Leo chimed in. "I can't wait to see what we can accomplish. We'll inspire so many more kids." Over the next few months, the partnership blossomed, and they began rolling out new programs including workshops for life skills, job training, and creative arts. They traveled to different cities, sharing their vision and encouraging others to join the movement. Oliver found joy in meeting new friends and learning about different communities. He discovered that while their struggles varied, the desire for connection and support remained universal. The trio worked diligently to build a network of kindness that spanned across states. During one of their workshops in a nearby city, they met a group of young people eager to make a difference in their own community. Inspired by Oliver's story, they wanted to start their initiatives to support homeless youth. "Can you help us?" one girl asked, her eyes shining with determination. "We want to create a safe space for kids like us." Oliver beamed with excitement. "Absolutely, we can show you how we did it, and together we can help even more people." As they collaborated with the new group, Oliver felt his own confidence growing. He had transformed from a homeless boy with limited dreams to a young leader who inspired others to take action. His heart swelled with pride as he watched young people rally together, united by their shared vision of hope. With each new partnership and initiative, Oliver, Leo, and Mr. Thompson continued to create a legacy of compassion and understanding. They understood that change didn't happen overnight, but they were committed to their mission, one small step at a time. As summer arrived, the trio organized a Summer of Hope festival in their community, inviting families to enjoy food, games, and activities while raising awareness for their cause. The event drew in hundreds of attendees, creating a vibrant atmosphere filled with laughter and connection. Oliver and Leo ran various booths, sharing their stories and encouraging others to get involved. The festival became a symbol of unity, showcasing the power of community support in the fight against homelessness. At the end of the day, as the sun set over the horizon, Oliver looked around at the joyful faces surrounding him. He felt an overwhelming sense of gratitude for the journey he had taken and the people who had walked alongside him. "Thank you, Mr. Thompson," Oliver said, his voice filled with emotion. "You believed in me when I didn't believe in myself. I never thought I could do any of this." Mr. Thompson placed a hand on Oliver's shoulder. "You did this, Oliver. You've shown incredible strength and leadership. You're an inspiration to so many, including me." Leo nodded in agreement. "We're changing lives together, and I'm so grateful to be a part of it." In that moment, surrounded by the warmth of community, Oliver realized that their journey was far from over. There were still countless lives to touch and hearts to inspire. Together they would continue to create a world where kindness thrived and no one would ever feel alone. And so, the story of Oliver, Leo, and Mr. Thompson continued, a testament to the enduring power of hope, friendship, and the belief that together they could change lives, one heart at a time. As autumn approached, Oliver, Leo, and Mr. Thompson reflected on their incredible journey. The Summer of Hope Festival had been a resounding success, fostering a spirit of community that resonated beyond their expectations. They had inspired countless individuals to get involved, creating a ripple effect of kindness and compassion. One day, while brainstorming new ideas at the community center, Mr. Thompson suggested launching a mentorship program that paired youth with local professionals. This could empower young people to pursue their dreams, he said. Oliver's eyes lit up. "We can help them find their passions and build their futures." They quickly got to work, reaching out to local businesses and schools. As they gathered mentors and mentees, excitement filled the air. The first mentorship meeting was held in the community center, buzzing with energy and potential. As they watched the pairs engage in conversation, Oliver felt a surge of pride. He realized how far he had come, from a homeless boy to a catalyst for change. In that moment, surrounded by laughter and hope, He understood that together they were creating a brighter future for everyone, one life at a time. And with that, their story continued, forever fueled by compassion and determination.